Hello there, everybody. Today, I'm going to be doing a tier list for all of the roles in Town of Salem. Let's not hesitate. Let's get right into it. I've been playing more Town of Salem, and I have been enjoying myself, so long as I'm basically playing with some friends, which I have been. Ambusher. Ambusher should be A tier or B tier, but the truth is, Ambusher hardly ever gets really good kills without getting caught. I'm going to put it into a C tier, and that's leaning towards D. It's just too easy to figure out who Ambusher is. Ammy's amazing. It's not S tier because you can die without actually coming back as somebody. But when you do get an Amni off, basically regardless of the team alignment, it's a ton of fun and it's very powerful for that team. So love it there. Arsonist is better now. Arsonist is still neutral killing, which sucks, but Arsonist is way better than it used to be. I'm gonna put Arsonist in a probably in an A tier. I think that as far as the neutral killing go, Arsonist is one of the best. Blackmailer is phenomenal. One of the best, if not the best mafia in the entire game. Bodyguard is solid. Bodyguard's solid. It sucks that you die when you have a teammate that's a doctor and you heal. It's really powerful, but otherwise it's not so great. Consig, super great for mafia. I do think that that's probably something that people already would kind of consider, though, as one of the best mafia of all times. Consort, S tier. Consort's actually insanely good for Mafia. A lot of people underestimate the Consort, but you really shouldn't because Consort is legitimately phenomenal. Coven Leader is really good. I'm going to put Coven Leader into A tier. Crusader is going to be pretty solid, B tier. Good amount of protection, but you can also really easily kill a bunch of your own teammates. Disguiser, F tier right there. I think Disguiser sucks. Even with the changes to Disguiser, I think it sucks. Doc is better than Bodyguard and Crusader, right? Gonna have to put in an A tier here. I don't want to run out of space, but that's where they belong. They're better than the other ones. But the other ones are really good town roles. You want to have these guys on your team. All of these you're happy to have on your team. So, yeah, I think I'd have to put them there. I don't think that there's any place better for them at this time. Why can't I remember who the kisses are? Oh, that's Escort. Escort's good. Escort's a solid team, a solid role. I'm really happy to see. Executioner. Executioner is a ton of fun, but I'm not gonna lie, it's a pretty weak one, right? And the same kind of goes for Forger. When you get a good Forge off, it's phenomenal, but most times you're not gonna be able to do so. I'm putting it in a C tier here. Oh boy. The favorite of all Town of Salem players in the world, the Framer. Framer sucks. It's not as bad as Disguiser, but it's pretty bad. What the heck? Godfather? Nobody actually likes playing Godfather. It's powerful technically. I'll put it maybe in like a C here, but it's really boring, and it's frankly not very much fun to play for most people at least. It's nice to be able to play that instead of, let's say, a Mafioso, but GA. GA is one of those really fun roles that isn't very good, and so for that reason, I'm going to put it in here as a probably as a D tier. You really can't do much. You can win the game, but a lot of times you lose. You lose more often than you win. You know what? Let's say C tier because your ability is powerful. It is a game-making power. It's just hard to actually make the game with it. Hex. Hex sucks without Necro. With Necro, Hex is pretty good, but without Necro, Hex is about where Framer is. And I think that most people would probably agree. By the way, if you disagree, let me know on which ones and why in the comment section. Hypnotist sucks. Hypnotist is down here with Disguiser. It's not very good. It's occasionally useful, but typically it's not useful at all. Investigator is great. It's B tier. It's A tier. Is it better than a doctor? No, but I will take an investigator on my team any day. Jailer. Oh, come on. As if there was a question. It may surprise you that Consort and Blackmailer are up here in S tier with Jailer, who is, if there was an S+, Jailer would be in the S+, right? But there isn't, so. But Consort is a winning role for Mafia, and the next best winning role, in fact, BMer would probably be in an S+ too, is BMer. The amount of information you can gain with BMer, plus the ability to silence people, is really strong. BMer, I think, is the most powerful Mafia role, followed by Consort. So that's where that is. Janitor is really good, though. I love having Janitor on my team. I think Janitor is A tier right here. Jester. Jester has a strong ability, technically, and is fun to play, but we're going to put him down here in D tier because he's on his own, right? Okay, Juggernaut, S tier, right? Juggernaut sucks. Juggernaut is a terrible, terrible neutral killing, and it's ridiculous because of its low spawn rate. It should be way better than this, but it's not. I'm gonna put Lookout here in S tier. Having a Lookout is phenomenally useful. When properly played, it's not quite as powerful as a Jailer, but it's definitely up there. Again, Jailer would be S plus, and Lookout would say an S. But the Mafioso. Mafioso is useful, but we're gonna put Mafioso in F tier because Mafioso fundamentally sucks. It's only good when your GF dies, and then you're like, oh, I'm not terrible. But typically, Mafioso just sucks. Mayor is actually a really strong role here, but if I had to choose between, like, say, a Mayor and an Investigator, I would take the Investigator to the dock over the Mayor. I'm going to put it here in B tier. Solid role, really useful, but kind of situational and easy to mess up. I actually like Medium, but Medium's abilities are not very strong. I'm going to put it here into a C tier area. I think that Medium can absolutely make or break games, but a lot of times it doesn't. Medusa's a very strong Coven role here. I think I'm going to put it into B tier. It's close to A tier, but I would take a Coven Leader over a Medusa because Coven Leader has more control. Medusa doesn't, but Medusa's very good. Necromancer should be S tier, A tier, or B tier, but it's not. Necromancer ends up failing more often than it helps. It has been buffed, actually. The changes have made it better. I'm going to go ahead and put it into a C tier here. Pirate's actually pretty strong and pretty fun to play. But because he's a solo team, I'm going to go ahead and put him into a D here. It's not like you can't win with him, but it's hard to win while having fun. It's hard to win while playing as if you're on your own. You basically just become a team member of one or the other and hope the other team doesn't kill you. Yes. Wait, is that Pestilence or Plague Bearer? I don't know. Did they have these guys separated here? I hope not, right? They didn't separate them out here. This is Plague Bearers, so I don't see a Pestilence icon. So we're going to go ahead and say that this is Plague Bearer in total, including when it's Pestilence. I'm going to say the Plague Bearer is actually phenomenally good. One of the best neutral chaoses in the game. Even without being Pestilence, it's pretty darn good. It's pretty easy to survive with it because you have immunities, and it's pretty easy to get your abilities going as well. So I say that it's A tier here. Poisoner. Poisoner is C or D. I'm going to put it into D. Poisoner just doesn't hit enough and is so easily countered that I think D tier is the right place for Poisoner. You'll notice that Coven and Mafia are both way lower than Town, except, well, Mafia doing better than Coven here, which I think is definitely true. Potion Master is a solid mid tier here. I'm going to go ahead and put it into B tier here along with Medusa. I think that a good Medusa and a good Potion Master are about equal. Potion Master is useful for more than just killing. You know what? Can I really say that, though, that they're equal? Nah. Because I just thought of something, right? So a good Potion Master and Medusa is about equal, but a bad Potion Master is way worse than a bad Medusa. Because a bad Medusa can still cover information, and a bad Potion Master really can't. So I think that that's kind of what makes it like that. Psychic! S tier! D tier. Psychic's actually pretty bad. It's useful when played correctly, but it's one of my least favorite TIs to have in the game. So I put it pretty low there. Retributionist with the buffs is way better. That's not true. Retributionist before it became what it is now would have been S tier, but Retributionist now is like pretty good mid tier, lower to mid tier. It's a little bit weak for a role, like saying like covering your back is a little bit tough with that, but I think that's solid C tier. Serial Killer, where does Serial Killer belong? Serial Killer has been buffed so where it doesn't just automatically kill, but is it really up here? Is it C tier or D tier? I'm putting it there. Sheriff is solid B tier. Spy is great. This is Cruise. This is Survivor? Is that the Survivor icon? I don't see a lot of Survivor. Survivor is going to be F tier, guys. Survivor is a lot of fun, but it doesn't do anything. It wins with anybody, but... And I like Survivor. A lot of people don't because I cause chaos as Survivor. But really, truthfully, Survivor is a bit of a role that basically gets sacrificed most games. I don't find it to be very great for that reason. Tracker is phenomenally good. It's not quite up here, but it's really close. Transporter is solid. It kind of really depends on who you get as your Transporter. Transporters can clutch, and I'm going to give them that. Trappers are going to be in C or D tier here. when you get it off, it's just, I'm going to say that Trapper is too easily countered, but it's not F tier. I'm still pretty happy when I see a Trapper in my game. I just also know that it's pretty easily countered. But it's nice to confirm a Trapper, and so that's why it's not F tier. Otherwise, I'd put an F. Vampire Hunter, I'm putting here in F tier. I find Vampire Hunter is... If you're playing a game like Dracula's Palace, Vampire Hunter is great. You need it, right? It's up here. It's almost as high as a Jailer. But when you're in a normal, like Coven All Any, Vampire Hunter's not very great. You're almost happier when it becomes a Vigi than when it's a Vampire Hunter. Vampires suck, guys. I'm sorry. When you're playing a game with other evils, you end up killing half your evils. When you're playing a game, like, for example, we play Spawn Served. I think Vampires have one of the lowest win rates in Spawn Served. That's even with there being only 2 Coven and 2 Mafia and 5 Town. I really think Vampires are pretty weak. Veterans are good. Veterans are highly based upon how good you are with one. C tier, Vigis, A tier. You may disagree. I think Vigis are one of the most powerful Town teams out there. I'm very happy to see a Vigi. I'd rather see a Vigi than a Vet any day, so long as there's not a Witch alive, or if there is a Witch alive, the Vigi's smart. Werewolf here is B tier in my opinion. I think werewolves are actually really strong in this game. I think that where they're weak is just they don't attack as often as a serial killer does. But I think that their ability to go through and kill other evils and kill multiple town or multiple people in general makes them really strong. Which I don't know. This is a tough one. As a Mafia, I love seeing a witch. I don't like being a witch. As another neutral evil, I am pretty okay with there being a witch. Witches, I think I'm going to give it to a C tier. I think they're solidly middle. They can be very useful. It's a little bit dependent on who it is that who's playing. But I definitely have seen a lot of great witches and a lot of bad witches. So, all right. Okay. Let's see what we got here then. Let's go over these rankings. Let's go worst from best. And again, in the comments, let me know if you think I'm totally off with any of these. Vampires suck. Vampire Hunters suck. Survivors are fun, but they suck. Mafioso sucks. Hypnotist sucks. Disguiser sucks. So there's 3 for Mafia here in the lowest level and 1 Town in the F tier. Trappers are not very good, but not useless. Serial killers not very good, not useless. Psychic, same. Maybe poisoners are almost F tier, to be honest. They almost belong down there. You could make the argument. I wouldn't necessarily disagree. Pirates, I think, just are too easy to kill off to be any better than this. And it's all down to chance. It's not really down to skill. Juggernauts die too easily in the early game, so I don't believe that they can be up here because they're just too easy to kill. Jesters don't have that strong of an ability. They win a bit, but because they don't have any immunity and they're kind of weak. And it does depend so much on who they are. I think they belong in D tier. Hex just sucks in my opinion unless you get really, really lucky. Framer sucks. Executioner for the same reason as Jester there. A lot of neutrals down here. Not a lot of neutrals up here. That's what I'm seeing. Witch, C tier, middle. Veteran, C tier. Retributionist, C tier. Potion Master, C tier. Necromancer, C tier. Medium, C tier. GA, C tier. Godfather. Godfather should be better, but it's just not. It's just not that good. You end up getting caught a lot just by being BGGFR, so, you know. Forger, C tier. Again, a great forge is great, but most often you end up using it just to cover a will because you don't have time to actually play you can't play the game as the best forger ever and also talk during day. Ambusher gets caught a lot, but is pretty useful. It can kill some important roles. Werewolf, pretty darn good, just doesn't attack enough in the early game to be any higher than this. I think an Arsonist with the buffs can get way more value than a Werewolf can. And, you know, it's kind of weak to controls and to trackers and stuff like that. So, Transporter can be useful, can also kill you. Spy, pretty useful. Sheriff, pretty useful. Medusa, I think very useful, but kind of uncontrollable. You can kill a lot of team members off. You can kill a lot of other neutrals off. So I like to put it here. I think in B tier. Mayor, good, strong, but not as strong as some of these guys up here. Investigator, pretty strong, but not that great. Escort, really good role, but a little bit lynchable and pretty easy to kill off. So no particular protections unless you've already killed off some Mafia. Crusader can kill off your own team members, but it's pretty good. Bodyguard's great, but then you die. Vigi, one of the best TKs in the game besides the Jailer. Tracker right here, I think another really solid one. You can absolutely 100% confirm yourself really easily with Tracker, so that's why it's up here in A tier. Pestilence, Plague Bearer to Pestilence. Plague Bearer is really safe. Pestilence is really strong. Janitor. one of the best ways of denying information in the game. Unlike a Medusa, you don't rely on people visiting you. You can just clean up, including people who leave the game, which is super good. Janitor's almost S tier, but not quite as good as a Consort or a Blackmail in terms of being able to win games. Doctor, really good, really solid. I think that the ability to protect yourself makes him worthy of A, and being able to do multiple protections while living makes him better than the bodyguard. So, Consigliere is really good. I think really strong Mafia role, really quiet Mafia role, pretty easy to get good results for as well. Arsonist with the buffs, dousing multiple people, very strong. Amni, you can make the argument that Amni doesn't belong anywhere else because it could die early, and you'd be all right. But Amni, any team you join, you're powerful. You know, so the raw ability of joining anything makes Amni really valuable to whatever team it ends up on. I think A tier is a good place for it. Lookout, one of the best roles in the entire game. You can confirm a lot of information. Lookouts are very valuable. Jailer would be S+ if there was an S+. Consort belongs right here. Consorts can absolutely save games in the late game by using their abilities. They can do so much damage to town, and they can also do some good stuff for confirming themselves or stay completely quiet. BMer is a lookout equivalent of Mafia, so it definitely belongs here in S tier. All right, there you go. 2%Skimm's tier list of all of Town of Salem's roles. Let's see what maybe traders in Salem look like. That's going to be interesting. All right, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think. Cheers. Yes,